First it was Luka, who dropped a 60-point triple-double. Then it was Mitchell scoring 71, and now it's Dame matching that. It's record-setting stuff we're seeing, but it's got me thinking. There have been 21 50-point games this season already, which makes me ask the question, is it easier to score in today's game? If it's easier, why is it? Have defenses gotten weaker? Are players just more skilled and better overall? Or is it the way the game is officiated? Well, I'm taking a look at some of the highest scoring games in the past 30 plus years and seeing what the differences are. I'm taking a look at Mitchell, Dame and Booker's 70-point games, Kobe's iconic 81 and Jordan's 69-point performance to really see how they got their points. I don't want to look too much at numbers, but I think it's important to see how the points were broken down. Firstly, there's your field goals, which can be broken up into either 2 points or 3-point shots. Then you have your free throws worth a point each. Starting with field goals and percentages, you can see that everybody roughly made the same amount of total field goals, with there only being a difference of 7 between the least, which was Booker, and the most, which was Kobe. But it gets a lot more interesting when you split these field goals up to see the ratio of 2 and 3-point shots. Looking at this graph, you can really see how scoring has changed over time. As one type of shot rises, another falls. The 3-point revolution is clearly visible here. Starting with Jordan, not many threes. We see an increase then a dip between Kobe and Booker, but I would put that down to the volume of shots rather than the reliance on the free ball. After all, Kobe scored 81 compared to Booker 70, so obviously there's going to be more shots. But then after that, there's the steady increase in threes. Notice that at the same time, the number of 2-point field goals attempted is also decreasing. This shows that players are replacing what would be 2-point shots with threes, proving that players are favouring the free ball a lot more. Another thing to notice here is that the type of shots are now differing a lot more. Back in the 90s and 2000s, Kobe and Mike would take more twos like we established earlier. But those shots weren't just your typical twos like your layups or your dunks. These would be your mid-range jumpers, your elbow pull-ups and fadeaways from the post. But in today's game, players don't bother. They take the layups and the easy dunks. And who can blame them? It's an easier shot for the same amount of points. But now, let's get into why there's a conversation around scoring being easier. Luka has said previously that scoring in the NBA is easier than in Europe, and he's right, for 2 reasons. The first being the rules and officiating, and the second being the size of the court. Both of these cause one massive issue, and that's spacing. The court being smaller means that players are closer together, which not only makes it harder to create space for yourself, but it makes it easier for the defenders to switch and rotate. Another difference between the NBA and Europe are the fouls. In the NBA, any form of contact seems like a whistle nowadays, and players flopping only makes it easier to get a whistle. In Europe, there is a lot more room for physicality, especially on the defensive end. Now, why do I mention this? What does Europe have to do with anything in this video? I say this because in the 80s, 90s and 2000s, the physicality of the NBA was a lot tougher, and that's because of the officiating. Back then, they were lenient with defensive physicality, making it similar to Europe, and so it was harder to score as defenders were able to bump you, hit you, and just be a lot more physical in general. When comparing statistics, something that surprised me were the free throws. No matter what year you look at, with the exception of Dame, all players needed around 20 free throws to get to that 70 mark, but Dame replaced his free throws with 3-point shots, which is extremely impressive actually. So overall, what do I think? I think that scoring is somewhat easier in today's game, and here's why. All a player needs to do is get hot from 3, and they're good. Once you're a threat on the perimeter, defenders play higher and tighter, making the paint more open. If you're an all-star caliber player, like all these players are, blowing past your man is fairly easy. Then once you're at the rim, you're getting a layup, a dunk, or even fouled because of the limited physicality, so easy points are there for you. That's what I think. But let me say this, I'm not saying that scoring 70 points or even 40 or 30 points is easy. The players who do this are extremely skilled and talented. Dame's performance is so impressive it deserves a video on its own, as do all these games. But I want to know what player you think had the best game here, and do you think we'll ever see a player break Wilt's 100-point record? That's going to wrap it up for today's video. Thanks so much for watching, I hope you have enjoyed, and if you did, a like and subscribe would be greatly appreciated. And with that said, I'll see you in the next one.